Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.
You know, everybody's got a to-do list. Drop off the dry cleaning, pick up some milk. Here's an idea. Let's save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. And the good thing is you don't have to drop off or pick up anything. All you have to do is go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. Extra money in your pocket. It just may be the most rewarding to-do you do today.
Now, Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio. A downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
All right, here we are. Welcome to Spike's Car Radio. We're in Beverly Hills today. It's a beautiful new year, 2018. I'm here with the real Zuckerman. We've got Sports Illustrated swimsuit model Genevieve Morton. You may remember her not just from the cover of Sports Illustrated, but also from Car Matchmaker. She was the South African lady looking for a muscle car, I believe. She wanted an old muscle car.
An old Mustang, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. She found an old Ford Mustang. She's going to come, be here in a little bit, catch us up on what's going on with her. In the meantime, Happy New Year, Zuckerman.
Happy New Year to you, Ferriston.
Did you, we've been airing these shows kind of out of order, but this is the first time we've sat down after the new year. Did you have a nice holiday? Is that what you say to the Jewish people, the holiday? What if I said happy? Did you have a nice Christmas, Zuckerman? Would you really be offended at that?
I wouldn't be offended. Plus, Hanukkah's a joke. I mean, I hate to tell you that what we're celebrating ended up in the loss of the Jewish army way back when. It really didn't work out for the Jews.
Are you a religious person, Zuckerman, at all? Do you I was raised Catholic. I don't go to church anymore. I didn't go to church this time.
Is sarcasm a religion?
No,
I don't. No, I
You're not.
Don't.
You don't ever go and worship, or
I kind of like to address the Bible and religion as an exercise in critical thinking.
Yes. Which means
I like to pick apart what I think is true and what I think is not really plausible.
Percentages? How about what percentage of the Bible do you think is true?
Okay, I think it's about 50-50. and the 50% that's true is King David had 5 wives.
I was just thinking on the way in, and I was raised Catholic in a small town in Massachusetts. I was just thinking on the way in, if I ever walked into a church and heard a priest or a minister or someone preaching politics, talking about talking about all of this stuff, I would just walk right out. I would just go, look, I'm getting enough of that. And it seems like, and maybe I haven't been at church in a long time, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. It seems like that's all that's going on in church right now. They're political parties. Everybody's out there advocating for the Democrats or the Republicans, whatever. It makes no sense.
Well,
it's really the Republicans. I shouldn't even say it's the Democrats. It's the Republicans and churches. If you're walking into a church and you're hearing that stuff, will you just turn around? That's not church.
It's about right or wrong.
It's about right or wrong. That's right.
About right or wrong. Don't, stick to maybe to the 10 Commandments. I personally like the 11th Commandment.
Which is?
Don't take yourself too seriously. That's probably the most important one.
Who taught you that?
I taught it to myself because when I was a kid, My rabbi, Rabbi Spar at Temple Beth Shalom on Long Island, wore a toupee. And even at 10 years old, I thought there was something significantly wrong with a man of God needing to wear a wig in front of his congregation.
Did you ever ask him about it?
I didn't. I just thought, how do you get the yarmulke to stay on the wig, how do you get the wig to stay on the head? And so it all seemed really comical to me.
You know, my mom was setting me up to be a Eucharistic minister of some kind. Now, here I am being forced to go to church every weekend, and right around the Noah's Ark story, I go, oh, no, this is all fakery. This is all made-up stuff. So now I've got to get through, I think it was about 8 more years. So I figured that out maybe when I was 10, and my parents were not going to let me not go to church until I was 18. So so right around 17 and a half, my mom arranged a meeting for me with a priest. In Massachusetts, by the way.
I hope it was a happy ending.
That now looks like a very dangerous proposition. But I went to this meeting, and he said, your mom and I think you're ready to become a Eucharistic minister. I said, what? He goes, we'd like you to up your ante here and commitment in the church and become this Eucharistic minister. I still don't know what this position is in the church.
I know. You give the cracker.
You give the cracker?
You give the cracker for communion or something.
And I said to him, I go, look, no offense to you and what you do and everyone here, and I like everybody, and it's nice to see my friends and my neighbors here every Sunday and say hi and play in the back of the church and goof off, but I'm out of here. In 4 months, I'm going to be 18, and I'm not coming back. I just don't buy what you're selling. I'm sorry. I respect it. You can do whatever you want, but I just don't buy what you're selling, and I walked out. And then when I went home, my mom said, how did the meeting go? And I said, it went really well. Really well.
See you later.
You should follow up with Father Goss or whatever his name was.
My first experience with religion and knowing that I was Jewish was my best friend, Bobby Bestasy, coming up to me at about age, I think I must have been 5 or 6, and saying, you killed Christ. And I didn't know who Christ was, and I didn't know why I was being accused of killing him. And so from then on, it was, nothing was right in my life.
There you go. Well, that was the holidays for us, huh?
You were in New York, weren't you?
I went to New York. I had a great time. I saw that Springsteen play, which was outstanding. I saw, what else did I see? The new Amy Schumer play with Steve Martin, which I really enjoyed. Wow. Eric and I had a really nice night out there. Is
Springsteen worth all the money that you'd have to pay?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm not, and there are a couple things I hear people say about the show. One of them is the category I fall into, which is I'm not the biggest Springsteen fan, but when I left there, I was.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it. When I first sat down, and it's just one guy, and it's Bruce Springsteen singing into a microphone, I started to worry, like, how am I going to get through 2 hours of this? I brought my brother Wally. He and I were there. He's not a Springsteen fan either. But then I didn't want the thing to stop. The story, it's the story of his life, but told in a lyrical way, almost like a song lyric.
Very intimate,
and mesmerizing, and he incredibly intimate and revealing about who he is and his, as he says, his magic trick. He goes, "I have one magic trick, and tonight I am going to reveal it to you." And at the end of it, he goes, "There's my magic trick," and boy, it's quite a magic trick. So it was a very special night, really fun, and Amy Schumer and Steve Martin's play. I mean, you're just laughing the whole way through. Good night with the wife. Great dinner. I had Portia drop me off, and this is one of the perks of being in the car world. Portia dropped off a brand new Panamera Turbo at the hotel for me to use for the week.
What color?
It was, that's a good question. Mahogany metallic. I had to look it up because I'd never seen this color before.
Press cars are always funny colors, aren't they?
They want them to photograph different, and I like that too. But it looked like a burgundy, and then in other lights, it almost had an amethyst, like purple look to it. But, amethyst. I can't say that. But this car get dropped off. It's freezing in New York.
How cold? It was brutal, huh?
It started off kind of warm, then it got brutal. But you get in this thing, and boy, does it take care of you.
Is it too big for New York City?
No, sir. No, sir, it is
not.
It is perfection.
Spots,
well, remember, we're a family of 4.
Right.
But all 4 of us get in the car, and all of us went, oh, my God. We all have little heat warmers. We turn on the Burmeister music. And you've got a twin turbo. Here are the stats on this car. 550 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. 190 miles per hour top speed.
How's that possible?
And you're in New York, and you're comfortable, and it's quiet. Like, you know that Suddenly the city's blocked out. That happens.
The reverse THX thing.
And then, we're blasting out to Wally's house, to his house in Livingston, New Jersey. So we get out of the city, and I notice the car is steering itself. It's keeping itself in the lanes, right? It's got lane.
Not Porsche.
It's got lane keeping assist and traffic sign recognition and quartering notification. But here's what it's doing, Zuckerman, which I was really blown away by. And maybe this is because I haven't driven a lot of new cars lately, but this thing, for 10 seconds at a time, would self-drive. It was self-driving down the road, okay? It was staying, and it's not perfect. It kind of slowly moves to the left line, then slowly moves to the right line, which I found kind of relaxing. And after about 10 seconds, and by the way, no mistakes, but then after 10 seconds, it says, you better take control of the wheel.
It'd be funny if you could argue with this thing. You're not driving right. No, you're not driving right.
And I've talked to people, they say what they like to do is just rest a finger on the steering wheel and just give it a little tiny input so that it always stays in that mode.
So it's a little video game. It keeps you going.
But again, you get that little hint of what self-driving cars are going to be like.
I'm scared for the future. Scares me for the future.
You should be excited.
No,
I thought you at one point you said you were very excited about all the business you're going to get in the personal injury.
That's the only thing I like about the future. Otherwise, I want to be left behind. I want to be. I liked where technology was in, say, the early '90s. That's where I was last current. And
this is an old man speech.
Okay.
But every old man just stops in a year, and then it's the clothes and everything that comes with it. So you're Mr. 95.
Yeah.
Just keep growing, man. Keep learning. You, above all else, you're going to love it. You know why? Because you're always on the phone. You're always doing business. And you're going to be able to sit in your car and do business while you're in traffic. What was it like? You came from Hollywood today, right? I came from Brentwood today. And I was in a great mood. I'm in the leaf green 911T. And I get to Beverly Hills, and it's just shut down. Do you know what they're doing on Santa Monica? There's no left. I'm going down the alleys to try to get here in time. And now I'm mad, right?
It's insane. It really is the amount of traffic
the
and
amount
construction.
of shit that I just hit at that last minute. Now, the self-driving car, the car deals with it. I'm just looking down.
What do you do? Read a book? You read the newspaper? You check out porn? What do you do?
I'll tell you what I'm reading. I'm glad you asked. Because maybe it was 8 shows ago that we started talking about the lawsuit John Cena versus, it's Ford versus John Cena, right? You've all heard about this if you're listening at home.
And John Cena's tough. He's a wrestler. He can take on a lot, but I don't think he can take this on.
John Cena ordered one of those Ford GTs.
He had to apply.
He had to apply. He had to write an essay, by the way, and he had to get a good grade on it. B pluses or less, no Ford GT. That's what I heard. And John Cena apparently sold that car. And Ford caught wind of it, and they filed a lawsuit. And this was before the end of the year, right? Sometime in December, right? And you and I were talking about it, and you said I can get a copy of that lawsuit. And I said I dare you to get a copy of that lawsuit.
Which, of course, I produced instantly.
What I'm holding right here. A copy of all 27 pages?
Did you get
39 pages.
Did you bring the exhibits as well, Mr. Ferriston?
I've got it all. But before I even get into any of it, Zuckerman, how was this obtained legally?
Oh, yeah, it's a public filing. That's the great thing about lawsuits is that it's a public filing so everyone can see the sins that you're accused of when you get sued.
Right. So I can talk about this? I can read what's in there?
Say whatever the heck you want.
And by the way, John is supposedly coming on the show.
I love the guy.
I want him to come on the show, so I hope this doesn't interfere.
What was that movie with Amy Schumer that he had such a great role in?
Trainwreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the great all-time jokes, that when guys get angry, they get gay.
Right? I'm going to take my shirt off.
I'm going to fuck you up the ass. Wait, what did you say? Yeah, that's really one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen. Anyway, I really wanted to know a couple of things about this lawsuit. One, what claim does Ford really have? What are they threatening him with?
Ironclad.
And what did John Cena do? When did he sell this?
He broke his word.
Well, guess what? I've got all the answers right here. I feel a little like Rachel Maddow here.
You know what, Spike? This goes under the rubric of a deal is a deal.
Okay. Now, when these things are numbered here, jurisdiction and venue, line 6. Is that how we refer to it? Line 6?
Well, you would refer page in line. So what page?
Page in line. So page 3, line 6. The amount in controversy exceeds $75,000.
That is a jurisdictional comment that you're in the proper courtroom because you're dealing with a matter over $75,000, which is an unlimited jurisdiction matter.
So damages could go as high as they want them to. Okay, because that leads. I had a feeling it was going to go there because later on it gets kind of scary between Mr. Ford and Mr. Cena, the agreement about Ford. But this is the idea: is to scare the heck out of him, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay. As a result, Ford requires that the individuals who are ultimately selected to purchase the Ford GT agree not to sell their vehicle for 24 months after delivery.
Pretty clear.
Pretty clear.
And we know from looking at the applications, it says it plain as day on some. These were not, like, the application was not a highly technical legal document. Well, it was pretty easy to read.
In this lawsuit, it's interesting. They kind of set you up. They say all of the things that you agreed to, right? And all the terms you agreed to.
And then what you did wrong.
So page 5.
It's how you talk to your wife.
Under the program, Ford selects individuals who are best suited to enjoy the Ford GT to discuss a potential purchase of the vehicle. In selecting these vehicles, Ford takes into account, among other things, each applicant's interest in Ford cars, specifically the GT, and in collectible cars generally, each applicant's relationship with Ford, blah, blah, blah.
That's the thing you had to get a B+ on, the essay.
Yeah. What do you mean?
You had to reply, look, I'm a Hollywood guy. I love cars. I love Ford.
Wouldn't you love to see that? Can you get John Cena's essay?
Do you think it's written in crayons?
No. He's a really smart, funny guy. Look, by the way, I love John Cena. I'm a huge fan of John Cena, and I'm not sure I'm siding with Ford on this one yet. But again, if they give me a Ford GT, I could side with them. It's that easy. Okay, here we go. Now we get into the interesting part. So Mr. Cena made 2 payments for the car. His first payment, $230,000, right? This payment had to be made before the vehicle was built. And on or about September 21st, 2017, Mr. Cena made his second final payment of $233,000 and change, okay?
Boy, the layaway plan, 50% up front, 50% due.
Now, this is important, Zuckerman, because it says here, on or about September 23rd, 2017, the car was delivered to his home in Naples, Florida. And then by October 20th, Ford learned that Mr. Cena had sold his car.
Bad.
So that's now look what it says. That had learned. A month later, it had learned. That doesn't mean he didn't take that car
and do it 2 days
and
later.
Flip that car 2 days later. Okay, here's where it gets cool. Page 10 of 18.
What line?
I guess. Line 28. Upon learning this information on or about October 25th, 2017, a Ford representative contacted Mr. Cena to discuss the unlawful resale of the Ford GT. In a telephone call, the Ford representative directly asked Mr. Cena if he had sold his 2017 Ford GT, to which Mr. Cena responded, "Ba-ba-da-ba! Yes, I did."
He didn't say my bad. My bad. Whoops.
You didn't get it. That was his theme. That's Cena's theme. Dun, 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 dun. So he did. He said, I did. Thereafter, in a subsequent text change with the Ford representative, well, what the fuck did you do that? He texted, I'm sure.
Oh, boy.
That's not in there. And the representative pointed out the consequences of Mr. Cena's contract violation. Mr. Cena responded, I completely understand, and as stated, I'm willing to work with you and Ford to make it right.
Which means...
My sincerest apologies.
And what does that mean?
What a good guy, right?
What a good guy, except he didn't do it. except it was just words.
We keep going. The Ford representative then emailed Mr. Cena and formally notified him of breach of contract and requested that Mr. Cena obtain the immediate return of the vehicle.
Get it back.
Mr. Cena again responded that same day and stated he would go get to work on this right away. You've heard this before, I can tell.
Of course. Like, can you imagine John calling up the guy he sold the car to? Hey, I need to get that car back.
By the way, the car he sold to who has no contract with anybody, right?
He's like,
Ford can't take that car back from him.
You just wait out by your mailbox, John. I'll have the car back right away.
Okay, here's where it gets juicy. Page 11 of 18. To date, however, Mr. Cena has not made it right, in quotes, and has sought return of the vehicle and upon information and belief has made a profit from the improper sale.
How much?
In addition, Mr. Cena still has failed to provide any documentation concerning the improper resale and is now refusing to do so, despite his earlier indications otherwise. All right, we're siding up here. What are your thoughts so far, Zuckerman?
Well, when I was about 7, I did a little shoplifting and I got caught, and my mother made me she dragged me back to the store and made me give it back. But my father, who was a very kind of even guy and had a tendency to talk to kids like adults, said to me, "If you're going to do something wrong, make sure you don't get caught."
Right.
And this, so it's very simple. A deal is a deal. You tell Ford that you're going to keep the car for 2 years. You keep the car for 2 years. If you're going to be one of those guys who sells it, what you do is you do something with someone you trust, very sneaky. You keep the pink slip. You say that you lent it to the guy.
Right.
You have a very on the DL deal so that you do not get caught like this.
What do we think? And it doesn't say what he sold that car for, but
I believe they said he made $1 million profit.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know.
I
if
have
that's
heard
true.
$1 million.
It's certainly not listed here.
I just wonder how the hell you got caught so quick. You gotta really have made some serious errors of judgment.
That's pretty easy. They haven't made that many of these cars yet, and you take it out somewhere, and then the guys at Ford see it on social media or hear about it. That's pretty quick. I mean, you can't keep secrets. When you and I sell cars, it's 2 seconds before somebody is messaging us on Instagram. Hey, did you sell your car? People know about it instantly.
And I frankly believe that if John had said to his Ford dealership, I need to sell this car. Can we sell it through the dealership and split the profits? Everything would have been kosher.
That is what they want to do. They want to take possession of the car. Now, those folks that are out there right now going, look, if I'm paying $500,000 for a car, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want with it.
A deal's a deal. You signed the paperwork, said you couldn't.
Do you think it's unfair for Ford to ask that?
No. Not at all, because they want to control.
Because this is really about controlling brokers, right?
It's
and
controlling brokers.
We all kind of hate the brokers.
And if they're making a limited number of cars, and Ford is a company that makes very pedestrian cars, they don't make a lot of halo cars. They want their halo cars in brand ambassadors' hands. And I think they have a right to pick and choose who initially is going to have that car and let the rest of us plebeian people drool all over it. It's a big deal. They haven't made something like this in 12 years.
All right, now this is where I wanted to get down to brass tacks here. How much money is at stake here?
I believe it's going to be the $1 million profit.
Let me tell you something. Let me read this for you, because there was a frightening little paragraph here.
Yes.
That would be page 13, line 42, Counselor. As a result of Mr. Cena's breach, Ford has suffered damages in excess of $75,000. So that leaves open a financial amount, including, but not limited to, loss of brand value, ambassador activity, and customer goodwill.
Squishy.
What is John Cena's 2-year brand value? Like, if you wanted to pay John Cena for 2 years to promote your product, put a monetary value on that. That's millions of dollars.
It could be. So I think but I think that it's in there for leverage. I think what they want is they want their car back, and they want their money. What was it that Morty said in Goodfellas? Give me my fucking money. I want my fucking money. Ford's going to want him to regurgitate what he got, all of the money he got for the car.
What is this prayer for relief on page 17? What does that mean?
It just means what you're asking for. It's old-fashioned legalese. I pray the court that I may get my $1 million. Give me my money. Give me my fucking money is another way of putting it.
Well, what do you think they want more? Having looked this over, do you think they want the car more? Do you think they want the damages more? Is it a combination of both?
They want
just
three
to
things.
Scare John Cena?
They want 3 things. They want the car, they want the money, and they want to send a message to everybody else who owns these cars. Do not breach the deal. And I think that they've been very effective. I don't think anybody would consider selling one of these Ford GTs now after this. They put him, you're from Boston, they put him in the stocks and threw tomatoes at his face in the public square.
Yeah, it takes balls to sue John Cena.
What is he going to do? He's going to go to Ford and beat everyone up?
Bust out of his Hulk T-shirt and beat the crap out of him.
Pull Henry Ford out of the cemetery.
You can't see me. You can't sue me. I'm John Cena. All right, well, let's take a break. Zuckerman, you got to head back to the office. Thanks for coming in to talk about the lawsuit. That was really fun. And in a minute, we'll have Genevieve Morton, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model.
See you next week.
And I'm keeping you out of the studio, by the way, because I know what'll happen if you get too close to that girl.
You just don't want the competition.
Oh, please. Let's talk about your bucket list for a minute. That's right, your bucket list. Guess what? No big news. We're all going to die. So before you die, there are some things you should do. And how about a trip to one of the greatest spectacles in all of motorsports, the Indy 500? I'd like to see that. And I'm not talking about any trip to the Indy 500. I'm talking about the ultimate Indy 500 fan experience. That's exactly what AMSOIL, maker of the best synthetic motor oils on the planet, is giving away this spring. One grand prize winner will win the trip of a lifetime to the Indy 500 to watch some of the fastest cars and best drivers battle to have their names etched alongside the greats like Foyt, Andretti, Unser, and Castroneves. But that's not all. Listen to what else awaits the grand prize winner. Pit access, dinner with an Indy 500 legend, VIP track access, suite access to watch the race, $1,000 for incidental and travel-related expenses, beer, round-trip airfare for two to and from Indianapolis, hotel accommodations for two for 5 nights at a hotel near the Speedway, ground transportation to and from the airport, hotel, and Speedway, chances to meet the drivers. You will do it all. You will be taken care of. Just like they do when making high-performance synthetic motor oils, AMSOIL went the extra mile with this sweepstakes. If that's not enough, 10 first-place winners will receive 1 free digital download code for Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game. To enter the AMSOIL Ultimate Indy 500 fan experience, text INDY to 41487. That's INDY to 41487, or visit amsoil.com/Indy.
Hey, it's Rob Riggle.
And Sarah Tiana.
And you are listening to Wriggle's Pick.
Yeah, and a ham horn, and we have a new podcast. You can find our show exclusively on the Podcast One app, on podcastonesports.com, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Every Thursday, we're going to sit around and we're going to talk about the things that really excite us, like life, comedy, sports, a lot of sports.
Ourselves.
A lot of Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you join us.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, well, here's Genevieve Morton.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really good, and thanks for having me on the show.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you since our car matchmaker episode.
Which was amazing.
Do you remember the name of that episode?
I don't remember the name, but I do know that we picked the Mustang, and then I got like a regular Mustang after that because I became obsessed.
Well, Genevieve, as I've mentioned earlier in the show, is a former Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. What would you call yourself now? Just a model? Or are you Sports Illustrated swimsuit model forever?
I think you can't ever not be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, but it really depends on the person I'm talking to, And it's hard because I don't want to just be seen as one thing. I'm trying to like diversify my life.
That's a pretty good thing to be seen as.
Yeah. But it's one of those like bombs I drop when it's necessary, and then I just keep it close to my chest.
I hear what you're saying, but for many years I wrote an episode of Seinfeld called "The Soup Nazi." Mm-hmm. For many, it's always the thing I'm introduced as, the guy who wrote this. It doesn't matter what project I'm fronting. I was hosting my own late night show to be like, Soup Nazi guy's hosting his own late night show.
It's great,
and eventually, you embrace it, right? So here we are with Sports Illustrated swimsuit model Genevieve Morton. One of the, as I believe I read, one of the top 50 of all time. You're on the big top 50 list.
Yeah, I mean, when Sports Illustrated put out that for the 50th issue, it was an amazing issue, that one. I don't know if you saw the 50th issue, but they just had a collection of all their best swimsuit models Rachel Hunter was there, and all the most incredible women, which was great for me because I got to meet them all, and I was obsessed myself. And Kathy Ireland was, like, super nice. I really liked her.
I remember really having a crush on her. Did you all get along? When all the swimsuit models are together?
I mean, at
or
least
does it
face
get a
to
little-
face.
Does it get catty? Do you guys share the same makeup people and hair people, or?
I mean, I think the bigger ones get to have their own ones, but because
Really?
I was just one of the gang, I got to have the shared one.
Is there so do people get like special little corners of the makeup tent? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
if
is
you're
there
extra special, like if you get the cover, then you get your own makeup and hair, and they go to your room.
Oh.
If you're not on the cover, then you get to go into like the whole room where everybody is, and then it's kind of like scheduled out. But obviously everyone fights for the makeup artist they know is the best
Yeah.
one.
What's one of those shoots like? I mean, is it? There's not like any Trumpy guys walking around trying to steal looks at you girls, or is it all locked down? What's that whole situation like? Because I imagine it's different these days than it's ever been.
Well, I think right now I'm seeing that Sports Illustrated is actually revealing some of the girls that they're using while they're shooting, which is great because then it's great promotion the whole year, and the girls get to really maximize on being in the issue. When I was in the issue, we had to keep it on lockdown. We weren't allowed to tell anybody we were in the issue.
Right.
So on the one hand, it was great because it was a big surprise, but on the other hand, you spend the whole year with this big secret and you can't tell anybody, and it's excruciating.
Right.
But then obviously on set, it depends on where you're going and which country, because sometimes you're shooting on an island and there's nobody there, and then another time you're shooting in the middle of a city and everybody wants to know what's going on.
Right.
And of course, you just, you're always shooting in cities as a model, so you can just play it off that it's something random, whatever. But I mean, if you're in a swimsuit in the middle of nowhere or in a busy street, people want to know. They want details.
I see. So you're trying to keep a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to keep the secret that we're doing this shoot and that I'm one of the Sports Illustrated swimsuits. I guess I remember that. It's a very important issue, and I remember growing up with this thing, and as a young man, you're very excited that this issue was coming out.
I don't think men feel that way now. Now it's available all free on the internet for anyone to see.
But you know what I mean? There was something charming about it. It was the one thing my mom would not get upset about, because it would be delivered by the mailman. He would deliver the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model and all these beautiful women in it in swimsuits, and it was all cool, right?
Well, I think what I like about Sports Illustrated in a lot of ways, it's like the girl next door except elevated. It's like the girl you wish lived next door, but
Right.
everybody's sort of got a friendly appeal. When we're shooting, we're actually, encouraged to be more friendly and fun, and not where some magazines, they'll push you towards being more unapproachable, I guess.
Right.
Which I love. And I think one of the charms of the magazine and the company as a whole is that it's not just what the girls are looking like, it's how they behave as people and how they interact with people. So when they're doing the launch weeks, it's very personable. And I think that that's probably what sustains the magazine for so many years.
And you have to be personable.
Yeah.
They're putting you in the situations and parties that you have to be out there shaking hands and politicking. But what I wanted to have you on because I really enjoyed my time with you on Car Matchmaker, and I was really charmed by the idea of this desire. You're from South Africa originally, right? When did you come over here?
I came here in 2009 when I first started working with Sports Illustrated, and I've lived here ever since. But now I have my green card, so I'm pretty excited about it. I didn't even have to marry anyone to get it. I did it all on my own.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
And is that a difficult process?
I mean, I thought it was really difficult, but now lately, since I've already got it and gone through the difficult thing, everyone around me seems to be doing it quite fine, which makes me feel insecure about the fact that I'm not so good at paperwork. But for me, it was really hard.
But are you standing in line with like a bunch of people who are trying to get citizenship? You know what I'm trying to say? Are all countries equal here? Is South Africa
everybody's
as
equal
as
you don't
Mexico?
honestly, you have to get a lawyer, and the lawyer does all the paperwork, and it's super expensive, and it's really stressful because they give you a list of things, and they're like, you have to check off as many of these things as you can, and it's just really stressful.
And did you have to recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, no, that's when I'm going to become a citizen. Now, this is the thing. According to what I've researched online, you have to wait 5 years after having your green card before you can become a citizen, unless you marry an American, in which case it's 2 years. But again, I want to do it on my own because I'm convinced that if you marry somebody, they'll hold it over your head for the rest of your life and be like, I gave you citizenship. You owe me. Get down on the floor or whatever. I don't know what people want you to do when you owe someone something, but I'm imagining it's
down
that.
On the floor is a good start.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, well, that's what I imagine
There's no way
it
to be. I don't think there's any way to be in it. And by the way, you're right. You're absolutely right. I definitely would feel that leverage in the relationship.
Of course.
But it would be good. I think it would be good because you seem to have you have the beauty leverage in the relationship. Like any guy, I think most guys would be terrified to be with you a little bit because you're very lovely and you're very attractive and you're out there in the world, and it would feel to me like there'd be a lot of competition constantly. Like
well,
if I
it
didn't
has
keep my
actually
eye
been
on
hard.
You. What's
I
that?
had a guy recently who I had been dating, and it was really challenging. Every time my phone went off and it was a guy, he would be like, "Who's that? Why is he contacting you?" And then I'd say to him, okay, I've been working with Sports Illustrated for, my entire career, which means I'm only really introduced to like male people.
Right.
So, yeah, all my network and contacts are males. Like, you're going to have to get used to it. And if you don't, well, then I guess this is over. Needless to say, I'm single again.
Oh, and that was the end of it. So maybe you do get the citizenship from a guy. Give him that little bit of leverage, and maybe he'll feel okay.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe not. But you can always say no to the green card leverage.
No, I don't need to do that anymore because now I know I'm secure.
The citizenship, when you said that, it really kind of piqued my interest as a Seinfeld story. That would be really,
that would have been funny.
It's
that would have been a really good one.
Kind of George Costanza thought that
Definitely.
If I could get this woman, if I could make her a citizen, she would do anything I want. Of course, that would never happen. Right?
Well, it would be really funny, though, if you put that into a story. Yeah. She'd probably just lose her mind and be like, I'm all good. I'll go back to wherever I'm from.
Get down on the floor.
And do what I say.
We need some do what I say. Car matchmaker. So here's what I liked. You, like a lot of people, and it's not just because you're South Africa, you wanted an old muscle car, right? Old American muscle car.
Yes.
And you'd never driven an old American muscle car.
No, I haven't.
That's the thing I've noticed with a lot of men and women, but mostly women who look at these beautiful things and then they get behind the wheel of them, and it's a very different experience. And if I recall correctly, we had a late 50s Chevy Corvette. We had a 64, I don't remember the Mustang that we picked, but it was a blue Ford Mustang, beautiful car, and then a fake Chevy Chevelle.
Camaro?
Yeah, you're right. There it was. It was a Camaro, right. Yeah. But it was some version of the Camaro that wasn't legit, and somebody had faked it. What were you surprised when you got behind the wheel of those cars, how they drove?
Well, I had specifically asked for a stick shift, which is what I did my license on in South Africa. So for me, it was really fun doing that. But the one thing I found interesting was the steering wheel, being that it was so thin and kind of very, very different to the wheels we have now. So that was honestly the biggest thing that I felt different on the car. But I'm used to driving. I mean, I did my license on the other side of the road. Plus, I've driven all kinds of interesting cars, like really awful ones to really good ones. So I'm pretty good at just getting in any car and driving. But I think what I enjoyed the most really was just how luxurious those cars actually felt, which compared to some of the other older cars I've driven was not the same.
Right. So you started who taught you to drive a manual shift?
My mom tried to teach me, but then this is the funniest thing. She wouldn't actually let me drive her actual car. So I was like, so how are you teaching me exactly? So I just, in South Africa, most people get their license in manual.
Right.
The cars are cheaper to get there in manual, and it's just the way it works. So,
and what kind of cars are they?
Well, at the time when I first got my license, I inherited my mom's VW Golf, which is kind of like a Fox, I think, in America. I think.
We have Golfs here.
You do?
Yeah. And where's the steering wheel? On which side? The left side or the right?
The steering wheel is on the right, and we drive on the left.
Wow. So right-hand drive cars, manual transmission, so you're shifting with your left hand.
Exactly.
Well, that's a little tricky.
When I first moved to America, it was really interesting because I had when I first moved to LA, because I didn't drive in New York. What's the point? You get the subway. So I came here, I rented a car from, I don't know, one car rental place, and I followed my manager home to where I was staying, and then I didn't drive the car for 3 days because I was too scared. I was like, this is not happening. And then I had to go to auditions and stuff. Then I didn't have a choice, and then I got fine with driving on the right-hand side, but I found at first, when I first moved here, when I would be really tired, I would get onto the wrong side of the road and think, why is there no cars around me? And then realize I was heading towards oncoming traffic.
I like, these days I like right-hand drive cars, and I like that little shifter on the left. Occasionally I drive this old Jaguar XK SS replica. that a friend of mine has with shifters on the left, I sit on the right. It's a real contraption, a real weirdo Dick Van Dyke type car. And what I find when I like it, by the way, I love it. I love sitting on the right-hander. I love trying to shift because I'm learning a whole new thing, and it's engaging and relaxing because I'm stressed, I'm anxious all the time, and it takes all of my concentration. What I find I do more often than that is I hang the passenger over the yellow line when I'm driving.
I did that at first when I moved here as well. I couldn't judge how close I was to the side of the road where the passenger is, and it was really confusing.
How long did it take you for that to go away?
Well, it took a couple of passengers nearly having a heart attack in my car for me to stop doing it. But, if they hadn't been there, I'd have been still doing it.
Right. So let's get back to Car Matchmaker. On the show, you picked the Mustang, which, by the way, was the right choice. I drove those cars, too. The old Corvette was horrible driving experience.
Well, the Corvette's gear stick thing was not working out well for me. I did not enjoy that. Every time I changed gears, it was just not.
But what about the seating position? The seating position, and my legs were jammed into that steer. The whole thing felt like a die-cast model, a giant actual-size die-cast model of a car that was not really drivable.
Well, luckily I do yoga because I needed to put my ears around my head my legs around my head to actually sit in the car. It was ridiculous.
I remember we were right where we drove that through Hollywood because it was terrifying. But the Mustang we liked. So
and and then the Camaro, as we said, was just it felt like a mashup of weird different cars, and definitely didn't have. You know how when cars
it wasn't a good example. It wasn't a good
when cars have been put together with other parts, they
Right.
kind of have a weird rattle.
Yep.
And then the Mustang had next to no mileage as well. That was so weird. Do you remember that? It was so low in mileage. It was great.
Well, that means it's probably had turned over.
Do you think? But it drove so
I don't
smoothly.
have the stats on that car. It was a year ago or so. But so wait. So you picked the Mustang. You left the show. You didn't buy the old Mustang. Not long after. I follow you on all forms of social media. And if you want to follow Genevieve, you go to GenevieveMorton.com. You'll find her, same name, at Genevieve Morton on Twitter and Instagram. And I saw you in a Ford Mustang, right? A new Ford Mustang.
Exactly.
So what happened? You went from the old one to the new one.
So what happened was...
And don't worry, I'm not going to sue you. This isn't Ford suing John Cena over breaking the car matchmaker contract that you must buy the car.
So what happened was I had been working at the time with Maserati, and I had a 2-year contract with them, and that came to an end. And it was time for me to get a new car. But I didn't want to get something that was boring, because I can't stand that. And then also I wanted something powerful. So I knew I wanted a muscle car, and I'd been thinking about it. Obviously, having driven the Mustang, I was like, this is the one for me. And so when I got it, I was absolutely thrilled with my choice. Now, you might be thinking, why would you go from such a sports car to a Mustang? It's a very different car, but not really. Okay, think about this. Every time I was in the other car, people would be flipping me off. Okay, and let me just
which
tell
one?
you,
The Maserati?
The Maserati.
No, why?
If I was at the traffic lights, people would race me. If I was on the highway or the freeway, they would just cut me off.
Right.
If I was at a 4-way stop, they would just go. And I would be sitting there going, what is happening? And eventually I was beginning to think I was crazy. Okay, I was really beginning to think that I was just having this persecution complex. Then I got in.
I know. I experienced
the same thing. Then I got in the Ford, and everyone was suddenly like, please, come in front of me.
Really?
You go first. Let me open the way for you to drive ahead. And I realized it's like people, I think, were thinking, their idea of who I was because I was driving a car.
They are judging you very quickly, making a snap judgment, and they're going, girl in a Maserati, we know exactly what she is, right?
Exactly.
She's a trophy wife, she's spoiled, she's never worked a day in her life, and now she thinks she's going to go in front of me?
Exactly.
No way.
But that's not to say the car wasn't a fantastic drive, and I really enjoyed having it for the time that I did. But
you don't have to kiss Maserati.
No, but I'm
fun.
happy now in my. I'm happy now in my Ford.
But it's funny you bring this up. We talk about this on the show all the time because I drive a variety of vehicles, and my bully car, the one where I get judged and flipped off the most, is my Range Rover Sport. Tinted windows and black wheels. I'm that guy in that car. And then I can switch that same day and everybody's waving. And then I can get into my wife's Prius and forget it. I'm everybody's favorite friend. Everyone's
trying to get in the back of your car and ask
come
for
on,
an Uber
neighbor.
ride.
Yeah, hey, Spike, you want to come to the hoedown? I don't even know what that means. But so the Ford Mustang. And by the way, guys are going to be freaking out right now. Genevieve Morton just said she's single. She drives a manual shift car, and now she's driving a new Mustang. and she likes it. You didn't get manual shift in the Mustang?
Well, most cars are automatic, but they have the option of switching into the paddle shifts.
Right. So you use that.
I don't love using the paddle shift because when I'm turning and I want to changing gears, it's very clumsy for me. But what I do love about the new Mustang is the fact that there's a really, really great kind of computer situation going on.
Your instrument panel.
It's really good, and it just operates quick. I found with some other cars, you touch screen it, and it takes forever to turn to the page you want, and then you're flipping through music, and it feels like the more angry you get, you press really fucking hard on the screen. Damn it! No, it's not like that.
Do you get angry in traffic a lot?
Yes.
Why?
But I watched Judge Judy. She says never get out of your car, so I keep that to my...
All right, well, my co-host who had to leave, Zuckerman, who's you're probably lucky you didn't meet him. He's a vile human being. He's a wonderful lawyer. He's got a good heart, and he's also got a bad heart at the same time. He and I have been trying to work on our road rage, and I...
Getting better at it? As in, screaming better words? Or
trying not to beat people up in traffic or getting shot. My goal is to not get shot. I don't want to.
Well, you live in America.
Anything.
You probably won't be. If this was South Africa, we'd be having a very different conversation.
No, I know. I actually want to talk about that. But sticking with this, I got one of those dumb camera tickets in Beverly Hills the other day.
Yeah.
And then I got the picture of me, which is, by the way, never a flattering picture. It's really, you just look at it and you go, oh, really? There's no way to look good in that picture. Your mouth is usually open. There's some drool coming out of the side, and you're just. But I guess I rolled a right-hand turn. And, I talked to a lawyer who said, just, let it go. Do you have the type of personality who can just let it go? You don't have to pay it? And I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, here's what's going to happen. Because they're illegal or they're not illegal in California, no one can give me a straight answer. But this woman told me, she said, all you have to do is you're going to get a notice in the mail. You're going to look at it. You go, don't log in. Don't acknowledge that you received this. Just put it in the shredder and throw it away. You're going to get another one in a month or so. It's going to be double the fine. And you're going to take that one. You're not going to log in anything. You're not going to acknowledge it. You're just going to shred that one. And she goes, in about a year, they're going to continue to threaten you, but it can't affect your credit and it can't affect your driving record.
They can't arrest you.
They can't do anything because it doesn't stick because there's no proof that you ever received it. And it's not a ticket given to you by a human being. It's by one of these robot camera things that we all hate, right?
Oh, interesting.
Do you feel when you're on Instagram, do you feel this need? Because Instagram, especially with all the young women there taking pictures, it seems, and I had you on the show and I had Andrea Christina and Karuchi Tran. And they felt this enormous pressure every day to deliver content to that feed.
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, I made my Instagram private about a month ago.
Oh, you did?
Because I wanted to start screening the type of people that were following me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was tired of just having people writing disgusting comments. And bearing in mind that I realized I've been a swimsuit model for 12 years, I'm not going to be a swimsuit model forever. So I decided to take this whole thing, and I was like, enough is enough. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. And I haven't really been posting swimwear pictures for the last year and a half. Maybe one every 10 picture is a swimsuit picture, whereas other girls is one every 10 pictures is a normal picture.
So when you do that, when you have that kind of site, you get a lot of crap.
It's just disgusting sometimes. And quite frankly, I can't take it anymore. It's like being sexually harassed on a day-to-day basis for 12 years. It's driving me insane.
How much a day would you say?
I mean, I block at least 100 people a day.
No.
Every day, I block 100 people because they're annoying me, or they're rude, or they send me rude behind the direct message stuff or ridiculous stuff. I'm just like, you're an insane person. I'm going to say goodbye to you. And you know what the best part of all is? I don't care.
100.
Yeah.
That seems so much work.
I have also my Facebook fan page, which has 3 million followers. And my Instagram has less, 370K.
I imagine people are a little more civil on Facebook.
No.
No. It's really, so it hasn't cooled off with all that's been going on this past year with sexual harassment, sexual assault. It hasn't cooled off in the least. I would just imagine that, I can't even believe that people wouldn't think that for a minute someone like you might just start screenshotting stuff and going, look what I deal with on a daily basis.
Oh, I have screen grabs of a lot of it. Just to be honest, I have over the years. If it's really horrific, I'll just screen grab it. The other thing is, people will send messages.
You just set a chill through America.
No, other people will send...
Male America just went, oh, that night I was drunk on whiskey and I sent Genevieve that picture.
I have people legitimately asking me, like,
awesome,
can
Genevieve.
they, like prostitution, they literally write me and send, like, requests for me, like, how much would I cost? I'm like, excuse me?
How much?
Like,
How much would
that's
you cost?
harassment.
You're kidding.
Like, what? No, I don't cost any. I mean, like, I'm not for
Right.
sale here. But would you like me to send the screen grab to your wife?
Oh, dude.
I don't respond that, but I think it.
Yeah, no, I know. I've actually read that story. There have been models who have done such a thing.
I have thought about it, but then I thought to myself, really, do I have time for this? Let me go carry on living my life. I was like, I do have other things to do. Like, there is a couple more episodes of
know.
Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman that I haven't watched, so I may as well just tune into that instead of bothering with some freaks on the internet.
The TV producer in me is my hamster wheel is turning. This idea of confronting some of these people seems really juicy.
Sounds like a great idea.
Really,
And I
really
love to
fun.
argue, so if you need a star for the show, I'm your girl.
Yeah, well, no, it's 100 a day. I would have guessed that maybe a couple times a day some jerk does something stupid, but not 100 times a day.
If you divide it up
unacceptable.
over Twitter, over Facebook,
Yeah.
over Instagram,
Yeah.
over whatever other platform we have these days, it's obscene.
Right. And then what is the type of positive feedback you get? I mean, when you're putting that stuff out there, what do you get?
Well, there's a lot of like diehard fans or hyper responders who are really into it and who've really been great with it.
Just
And the
friends,
one
right?
thing, just the thing is, people also, if they've been following me for a long time, it's also not really about the calendar. It's about the fact that they're supporting a project that I'm putting out, and they've been long-time fans and they're buying into it because they know that that's a project that I'm doing,
Right.
which is great. And I think the pictures in both calendars are really beautiful imagery. It's not disgusting in any way. But this is the one thing that annoyed me. I did put out the calendar, and then immediately a so-called fan, I say so-called because it's annoying, just takes the images, scans them, and puts them online. And now none of the images that are in the calendar I have put out digitally. The reason I didn't put them out digitally is because I don't want them out digitally.
Right.
And also, it's copyright. And also, why would anyone buy it if it's available digitally? That's ridiculous. So then they're therefore buying a calendar and immediately devaluing it by distributing
here's
it.
why. They're going to buy it to put it up in their garage or put it up on their wall in their office. That's why. No one really has the digital stuff. But I hear what you're saying. It's like I was just in New York and I saw that Springsteen on Broadway show, and they were absolutely bonkers about no phones, no anything. Everybody put the phone, and by the end, I think there's one song left. People started taking their phones out, and the fans are at war with the ushers. The ushers are shining lights on them. They're putting their phones up. I'm going to take the picture. I'm going to get it. And, that over the summer I saw Coldplay where everybody's got their phone up, right? Everybody's recording every minute of them at the Rose Bowl. And then they, in the middle of the show, go, hey, we have an idea. We've been talking with a band for a little while. We want to do one song with everybody's phones put away, right? But what I'm trying to get at is it's no way to control that anymore.
I think what's annoying is, if you're at a concert...
You can't...
I can't police it, but you know what I can do?
You can't police it. There's nothing
I can
you can
stop
do.
putting out calendars, which is why this is going to be the last calendar. It is no longer sustainable for me financially to produce
Right.
swimwear pictures like this and put them
Right.
out on the internet if people won't support the project.
That's right.
Therefore, that's going to stop, and I'm going to move on
What
with my
if-
life and do something
What
else.
if people support it now?
Well, then it would
Will
be
you
a
put
different
another
situation.
calendar out?
If I actually made a financial gain from putting in the amount of work that I put into producing it for
Right.
my fans, then yes, maybe. But it doesn't warrant me spending the amount of work that it goes into to produce something to have it distributed for free.
Got it.
There's no point.
Right.
And quite frankly, that's another reason why I no longer produce random Insta bikini shots for social media, because
Where
why?
does it go? Right. What's the
People are
point of
just
that?
getting it. I'm not getting paid for it. They're just looking, and I don't feel good about myself when they write crap on the internet. So
Right,
why don't
right.
I just stop doing it and carry on living my life? It
Right.
seems better.
I hear that. No, I think that same thing. We work in an economy for free these days, everywhere. I see it a lot in entertainment, too. Everybody's asking everybody to work for free, and corporations seem
Oh,
to
all
be
the
making
time.
all the
I get
money.
the
And
requests all the
Instagram
time.
is the only place where Instagram can help, and it seems like you're headed there in this direction anyways, is the kind of paid sponsorship. right? Am I wrong in assuming you're heading into a kind of lifestyle, a Genevieve Morton lifestyle?
So there's a couple things that I'm working on. The one being is trying to help women and men, I guess, who have created these followings, and how do they turn that into a business?
Right. Okay.
As opposed to, as I just said, giving it away for free.
Yep.
Or they've worked so hard on creating this content. How do they start generating revenue from that? And how do they make it easy? Because like we discussed earlier about the other girls you've spoken with, everybody feels like it's an exhausting process every day to just be making content, putting it out, and it's quite frankly tiring everyone out. So I've worked with a friend of mine to create an e-booklet, which we're going to put out in the middle of January, which is So You're Insta Famous Now What? And then gives kind of like some help with that. And then in February, we're going to be doing a webinar surrounding all of that. And the people that join in will have access to a group where we can then help each other to actually have a better situation with this stuff.
That's cool.
People are struggling. And, everyone keeps looking at girls with followings going, oh, they must be rolling in it. And I'm like, I don't think they are. I don't think these girls are rolling in it. I think they're selling their souls to get followers
and trying to figure out how to monetize it, like you're saying. And there are a few who you find they have the deals now they have to put the little hashtag that it's an ad, or they make some money from doing it. But Instagram is making all the money. They're the ones making all the money. And
I think what's interesting, if the girls, and what I found has worked for me a lot of the time, is when I come up with an idea and approach a brand.
Right.
And that's really worked for me. But you have to be really clear on what your idea is going to be. And I think that's some of the stuff we're going to be talking about within this webinar, which will be able to help people. Because I think it's, you're not only just giving everything away for free, but it kind of feels like you're selling your soul at the same time.
Now, when you look at Kathy Ireland and what she's put together.
She didn't sell her soul. She sold socks, and she's a billionaire now.
Yes. I thought furniture, too.
Well, I believe it started with socks and then furniture.
She started with socks.
That's what I was told.
Those must be damn good socks.
I know, but have you ever looked up butter socks?
What are they?
Butter socks.
No.
Butter socks. Okay. They're not Kathy Ireland socks, but someone referred me to these butter socks online, and I'm going to just tell you, my feet have never been happier. Okay, they have been happier one other time, but after that, second close was the butter socks. Yeah.
Porsche guys, are you listening? For those long drives, for the Treffin, our group guys, butter socks.
I mean, seriously.
To keep your feet comfy. Well, Genevieve, is there anything we haven't covered here? I feel like we've covered, here's one thing I didn't ask you about, and I didn't ask you about it on the show. You were on Letterman back in the day, right?
Yes.
With David Letterman.
Yes.
What was that, the CBS show? Do you remember your interview with Dave?
It was always just the late night ones, and it was always 10 girls who did Dave's top 10, and then we all got to say one line.
Oh, no way.
I didn't actually get to do an awesome interview, unfortunately. But
you did a top 10 list?
A couple times. I think I did like 4 or 5 times top 10 list, which was great.
No, I used to write those. I remember that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, were your one funny? Because what I had to say was not that funny.
What was the list?
I mean, I had to do...
I'm going to say right now I didn't write it. You just said it wasn't funny.
No, they weren't funny. I mean, I don't even remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah. You're right. No,
I
one
don't year was top things to do, top things about being a swimsuit model. And the only one I remember that I don't even think I said was all the body paint you can eat. And I was like, okay.
I like that joke. I'm going to say that I wrote that joke.
Okay, great.
Because that's silly. You didn't get it, though.
I mean, sort of, but I don't know. Yeah.
It's silliness.
It wasn't
that whole
great.
show was just silliness. Well, Genevieve, it's been fantastic catching up with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
I love your passion for muscle cars. I love that you went out there and bought a new Mustang, and you love it. I love that. I would imagine any guy that sees you in that car is just like chasing you down, trying to get your phone number.
So what you're saying is I should get a different car?
No, well, I don't know. That's up to you. But I remember lending my old Porsche 911 to a friend of mine on the writing staff at Letterman, and she says every time she stopped for gas, someone tried to ask her out.
I had that look of "don't talk to me," though.
Really?
I think I exude the "I'm not going to have a conversation with you. Please do not approach me."
Oh, you're a woman right after my own heart. I have that in life everywhere. What I try to change it every once in a while and talk to people, and I do. When I'm out in Malibu, I'll meet fans out there and smile. But for the rest of the time, I just...
If it was a fan, I'd be happy to talk to them. But if it's just some creepy dude trying to get in my business, I'm like, okay, no, thank you. Though.
Well, how do you know? Everybody here in Hollywood
it depends
looks
how
like
they
a
approach
creepy
you.
person.
That is actually true. Yes, they do.
Trying to get in your business.
Yeah. My friend,
but a lot of them are directors and writers and.
My friend was hiking and she sees this guy walking along. She's like, "Oh, that's my guy. He's got long hair. He's a little bit grungy. He's shirtless." And then she says to her friend, "Oh, that's my kind of guy." And then the friend says, "No, that's a homeless guy." And true to the thing, she walked in, digs in the trash. Like she was. That's how she was attracted to this homeless guy in LA, and that's what LA is like.
Well, how does a guy approach you, Genevieve? What do you like?
Well,
give some guys a tip from a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model to all of us, an unattainable person to date, to go out with, to talk to.
I don't know that it's just approaching me per se, but I think in general,
for you,
all women that I know, including myself, like a guy who is maybe a lot more. I mean, I just think there's a movement towards the kind, respectful, well-mannered, nice guy. People are tired of the asshole. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We're tired of the asshole. So it's time to put that narrative away and bring out the nice guy, because we don't need to be ignored for 3 days before you text us back. We're all good.
Right. So you just want someone to come up and introduce themselves
and
look
nice
you in the eye and say hello.
And have some confidence of hey, you know what? I'm a nice guy and I have a nice face and I have a friendly attitude and I'm just a stand-up guy. We're down with that.
And I look a little homeless, just a little homeless.
That's for my other friend. That's not for me.
Anyway, we've been chatting with Genevieve Morton, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Genevieve, thank you for coming on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you. Come back and visit us soon when you've got something else you want to throw out there. If you want to get Genevieve's calendar, it's available right now on GenevieveMorton.com.
Yes.
That's where you can find it. You're not going to be able to get to her Instagram anymore unless she lets you in the club, but you can follow her everywhere else on social media. This is Spike's Car Radio. See you next week. Real quick before we go, if you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for, but what does it actually mean? The same goes for invoice, list price, and dealer price. It's enough to confuse anybody. It confuses me. All you're really looking for is a price that actually means something. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of your home. And how do you know if True Price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what other people paid for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.
Ever tried reading while jogging, cooking, or even juggling flaming torches? Yeah, it doesn't end well. But with audiobooks.com, you can conquer books without the circus act. Dive into over 450,000 titles, including more than 10,000 free ones. Get hooked on a bestseller, find your next obsession, or finally read that classic you've been avoiding since high school. And here's the inside scoop. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial and snag your first 3 audiobooks on the house. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.